Most of what you've been taught about getting rich is a complete lie designed to keep you trapped.
I never did it for the money.
I think that's part of the problem in our society today is people do it just for the money.
Truth be told, I've never, ever been motivated by money.
Real money is made by creating something that serves others so well that they gladly hand you their cash.
The people that are the best at serving others, they are the big winners in life.
If you have a vision for how your company could make the world a better place and you use social media to allow people to touch and be evangelized by your brand, if you're thinking, how can I make a product or a service that actually makes the lives better of the people that work at the company and the people who buy the product? If that's the question that you're asking, man, they will rally around you.
You have to realize that money is a byproduct of service.
And if you don't learn how to break out of the traditional mindset right now from this video, you will spend the rest of your life building someone else's dream instead of your own.
If you want to do it for fame or money, forget it. Stop now. But if you want to do it for the love of it, keep on going.
For all of my friends who are successful, all the same age, all went to school together, all had fun, the secret ingredient, which everybody's like, why are you guys so successful? We all love movies. We aren't doing it to get rich. We never thought we were ever going to get rich.
There was no one big at gaming, and I didn't know you could make money out of it. So it was never like a career that I just quit college to pursue. It's just something I just love to do.
Think about Walt Disney. In the past, traditional amusement parks, they were dirty, dangerous, and aimed mostly at teenagers. Walt wanted to break that traditional mold. He wanted to build a clean, magical place where you and your family could actually have fun together. Now, the traditional bankers told him that he was completely crazy. They rejected his idea for Disneyland many times, but he refused to stay trapped in their old way of thinking. He focused purely on serving families like yours and bringing them joy. Because he broke the rules and served his audience so well, he built an entertainment empire that changed the world. Now, right now, you're probably thinking that Walt Disney was some creative genius and you don't have a billion-dollar idea yet. You might think that serving people sounds great in theory, but it doesn't pay the rent this month. But that is the exact trap that keeps you broke. You do not need a massive theme park to start making money. You just need to solve one specific problem for one specific person. If you can do that, the money will naturally follow. So let me show you exactly how to find that problem and turn it into real cash right now. If you've been here before, drop a hashtag Believe in the comments below so I can feature you here in a future video. And if you're new, welcome to Believe Nation, the only channel that helps you believe in yourself daily, one video at a time. Stop chasing money and start building leverage. Most people are completely trapped right now because they trade their precious time for money. And if you get paid by the hour, your inputs exactly match your outputs. You work 1 hour, you get paid for 1 hour. You work 10 hours, you get paid for 10 hours. This means you can never earn non-linearly and you will never actually get rich by just renting out your time. You only have 24 hours in a day and you have to sleep, right? For 8 of them. You cannot scale yourself physically. You have to realize that you need a career where your inputs do not match your outputs. You need to disconnect your effort from your reward by building massive leverage. Now, in the past, leverage meant hiring huge teams of people, raising millions of dollars in capital, but having employees is actually the worst form of leverage you can use when you're just starting out. It requires permission and managing people is incredibly difficult. You spend all your time dealing with personalities instead of actually serving your customers. Today, the most powerful forms of leverage are code and media. This means writing software, recording videos, or creating a YouTube channel or podcast. Products like this have zero marginal cost of reproduction. You can multiply your efforts massively without needing anyone else's permission and without needing some rich investor to give you cash. When you build a piece of software or record a YouTube video, it acts like a tiny army of robots working for you for free. It can work for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, while you are sound asleep. This is how you actually build real wealth. Wealth is not having a big pile of cash in your checking account. Wealth is having businesses and assets that earn while you sleep. Money is just a tool you use to transfer that wealth. So if you want to make the shift, you have to stop looking for a higher hourly wage and start looking for ways to create leverage through the internet. Now, the internet connects every single human on the planet, which means you can reach potentially everyone. Find your specific audience, build something they desperately need, and serve them at a massive scale. When you focus on serving others first, the money naturally follows. But to keep that money, you have to understand the 5 exact pillars of wealth, which I'm going to break down for you right now. Master the 5 pillars of wealth building. So building massive wealth is not random and is definitely not about just getting lucky. It is built on 5 very specific pillars that you absolutely must master. The first pillar is self-investing. You have to invest in your own ideas, your mind, your skills before you can create anything of real value to the world. So this means reading books, taking courses, watching YouTube videos, spending years perfecting your craft, getting good at something. You are your own greatest asset, and if you do not invest in yourself, nobody else will. The second pillar is income generation. So having a great idea is completely useless if you do not actually execute it. You have to use your new skills to create extreme value and generate cash. A lot of people want to jump straight to passive income, but do not try to skip this step. You cannot start investing in huge assets if you do not have a strong active income engine first. You need that cash flow to fuel your bigger dreams. The third pillar is asset investing. So once your business is running, you take the cash you generated and you buy things that increase your wealth without your personal labor, your time and effort. This could be buying real estate, investing in private businesses, or putting the money into the stock market. You buy assets that put money back into your pocket every single month. The fourth pillar is asset protection. So once you finally build wealth, you instantly become a target. One lawsuit or bad deal can wipe out a decade of hard work. So you have to structure your finances carefully to keep your assets completely safe from risks. You need the right legal and financial walls around your empire. And finally, the fifth pillar is capital allocation. This is where you take your massive wealth you've built and move it around to the best opportunities to get the absolute biggest return. You don't just hoard money in your safe, you put your wealth to work to create even more value in the world, build new businesses, and increase the size of the entire pie for everyone else. Building wealth it's a group activity. And when you allocate capital correctly, you generate jobs and have massive impact. But you can only build those businesses if you know how to completely destroy your competition, which is exactly what we'll talk about next. Productize yourself to escape competition. So a huge mistake you make every day is trying to copy someone else's path to success. You look at other entrepreneurs and try to steal their exact blueprint, but you can never win long-term by being a cheap copy of another person. You can model the success, yes, but you have to specialize in being exactly who you are. When you build a business that is a true extension of your own identity, absolutely no one can compete with you. You escape competition completely through authenticity. Nobody else can be a better version of you. So how do we do that? You need to figure out what feels like play to you, but looks like incredibly hard work to everyone else. That is your specific knowledge. Specific knowledge cannot be trained, outsourced, or automated. You find it by looking back at your life and seeing what you are naturally obsessed with and the problems that you love solving. Often your biggest purpose actually comes from your deepest pain. You are uniquely qualified to help the person you used to be. The struggles that you survived become the exact tools you use to serve and help other people. Once you find that genuine obsession, you combine it with the specific skills you are good at until you are in the top 1% in the world at that unique intersection. Now, you might not be the single best speaker or the absolute best coder, but you can be the best speaking coder in your specific niche. Become the best in the world at what you do and keep redefining exactly what you do until that statement is completely true. Society will gladly pay you a massive amount of money for giving it what it wants, but does not yet know how to get it. So when you focus on your unique genius, you stop fighting for the scraps and you start creating your own massive opportunities. Once you know your specific genius, you can face the biggest decision of your entire career, and getting this wrong can cost you everything. Also, if you want to take real action after this video, I made a free worksheet just for you. It covers the top lessons from today, gives you space to write your biggest takeaways, and helps you build a simple action plan. It's 100% free. Just click the link in the description below to go grab it. I'll see you there. Choose between a product or service business. Okay, let's dive into that massive decision that you have to make right now. You have to decide immediately if you are going to sell a product or a service. A product business means that you're selling a tangible physical items, while service means that you're performing a specific task for someone else. They have massive differences that will dictate your entire future, and you have to choose the right one for your exact situation. Product businesses usually require much more money upfront. You have to pay for inventory, massive storage warehouses, expensive equipment. They also have much narrower profit margins because you have to constantly pay the cost of goods sold. But physical products are much easier to scale because you do not have to directly trade your time to sell more units. The opportunity here is pretty massive, as global e-commerce sales are projected to hit over $6 trillion, growing at over 8% annually and taking over a huge share of all retail sales around the world. Service businesses, on the other hand, are the exact opposite. You can often start a service business for $0 today using just the computer you already own and the skills that are here in your head. Your profit margins are huge up front, but scaling is incredibly hard. To grow a service business, you have to hire more people, build strict systems to deliver the exact same quality of work every single time. The key number you need to focus on, no matter what business you choose, is your effective hourly rate. If you're working 160 hours a month to make $15,000, then your rate is much lower than if you work only 80 hours to make $10,000. You only have a limited amount of waking hours each day. You must constantly find ways to raise your effective hourly rate so you stop trading your precious time for small amounts of cash and start buying your freedom back. And if you want to escape this trap, you have to systemize your entire service business. You have to document every single step you take so that someone else can do it perfectly like you. When you finally remove yourself from the daily operations, then your service business stops being a job and starts acting like a highly profitable product. But there is one specific path that looks like freedom, but is actually a massive trap that keeps you completely broke. Don't get trapped in the gig economy. So a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs try to escape their dead-end jobs by immediately joining the gig economy. They start driving for rideshare apps or doing small delivery tasks just to get by. And it feels great at first because you get flexible hours, you get to be outside, you control your own daily schedule, you feel like you're finally your own boss. But task-based gig work is a massive trap if you want to get truly wealthy. You're still trading your time directly for cash, just like your old job, and there's almost no upward mobility at all. You don't get health benefits, your daily income is totally unpredictable, and you are absolutely not building an asset that you can sell to someone else later. You're just renting out your car and your time to a massive tech company that keeps all of the real profits for themselves. So if you're going to freelance, you must target high-demand digital skills. Think software development, expert copywriting, high-level virtual assistants. These digital-first gigs can actually scale with you. You start by taking on a few small clients, package your unique services into more premium offerings, and then eventually grow into a full agency or massive consultancy business. The goal is not just to be a struggling freelancer forever. The goal is to use those high-value skills to learn how to sell and learn how to build. If you can build a great product and you can also know exactly how to sell it, you will be completely unstoppable in any industry that you choose. So stop playing small games and start building a real empire. And once your empire starts generating cash, you have to know exactly where to hide it to make it multiply, which is exactly the next step you need. Leverage real estate and the stock market for massive returns. When your business finally starts generating real cash, you can't just let it sit uselessly in a checking account. Inflation will completely eat your purchasing power every single year. So let me explain why this matters so much. If you just keep your cash under your mattress, it loses value every single day because things get more expensive. You have to buy assets that grow faster than inflation. This is the only way to protect your family and your future. So you take your profits from your business and you immediately pour them into assets that will take care of you forever. We can look at the data. Over a 25-year period, investing in a medium-priced home in a growing market like Phoenix can completely multiply your wealth. If you bought a house for $172,000 with a 20% down payment, that home could easily be worth over $500,000 today. The real magic of real estate is pure leverage and aggressive equity buildup. You are using the bank's money to buy the asset, and your tenant's monthly rent is paying down the entire mortgage for you. So by the end of 25 years, that initial $34,000 down payment turns into over $460,000 in pure equity. On the other hand, putting that exact same down payment amount into an S&P 500 index fund and automatically reinvesting the dividends is just as powerful. A completely passive stock market investment grows steadily without any of the massive headaches of property management, angry tenant issues, or expensive broken toilets. Historically, the broad stock market can return around 5% per year in purely real inflation-adjusted terms, turning that same initial investment into over $225,000 of liquid cash that you can access at any time. Both paths work incredibly well to beat inflation, but you have to pick the specific vehicle that matches your lifestyle, your available time, and your personal tolerance for risk. The most important thing is that you put your money to work immediately so it can start growing while you sleep. But none of this matters if you make one massive mental mistake that ruins 90% of entrepreneurs. Play long-term games with long-term people. The biggest reason you are not rich yet is simply your massive impatience. You desperately want a huge paycheck tomorrow morning, but all the biggest benefits in your entire life actually come from compound interest. This rule completely applies to making money, learning difficult skills, and building powerful relationships. You have to find an industry where you can play long-term games with long-term people. When you constantly try to get rich quick, you end up making terrible, short-sighted decisions that ruin your reputation. Real wealth stacks up just a little bit at a time, month after month, year after year. It's a whole bunch of tiny, unglamorous things piling up until suddenly you hit a massive tipping point. You have to keep doing the hard work consistently, over and over again, even when nobody is watching and nobody is clapping for you. And on a long enough scale, you will absolutely get paid, but it can easily take 10 or 20 years to see the crazy life-changing money. You need to have extreme impatience with your daily actions, but extreme patience with your final results. Work in incredibly hard sprints when you are inspired, and then rest instead of grinding 80 hours a week and completely burning out your brain. But the ultimate purpose of getting wealthy is not to buy fancy sports cars or show off to strangers on the internet, right? The real purpose of massive wealth is absolute freedom. It's the ability to wake up exactly when you want, go to sleep exactly when you want, and never have a boss to tell you what to do ever again. So keep pushing forward because your ultimate freedom is absolutely worth the wait. And speaking of the wait, I have one final message to make sure that you stay on track. Take control of your future. You have everything you need right now to start building the exact life you actually want. So stop waiting for the perfect moment and start serving people with your unique gifts today. Take that first step, stay incredibly patient, and watch how your entire world transforms. And congratulations, you're one video closer to who you're meant to be. Believe. Now let's learn the most common traits that billionaires have in common.
You will never become a billionaire or even a millionaire by following the advice of the middle class. Most people think that extreme wealth comes from luck or inheritance or being in the right place at the right time. But the truth is, it comes from having the guts to concentrate your bets when everyone else is diversifying to protect their ignorance. If you keep spreading your focus, your energy, and your money across a dozen different safe options because you are afraid of losing, you will guarantee that you end up with a life of mediocrity and never reach the massive potential that you were built for. In 2008, Elon Musk was facing the worst year of his life. He had made $180 million from selling PayPal, a fortune that would set most people up for life on a private island. But Musk isn't most people. He had poured almost all of that money into two companies that looked like they were about to die, Tesla and SpaceX. SpaceX had 3 failed rocket launches in a row. Tesla was running out of cash and couldn't make payroll. Musk had about $40 million left. He had a choice. He could put all the money into one company to save it, but that would mean the other would definitely die. Or he could split the money between them to try to keep both alive, but risk running out of cash for both and losing absolutely everything. Most people would have walked away. They would have kept the $40 million and lived like a king. Musk chose the hardest path. He split the money. He went all in on both. He literally had to borrow money from friends to pay his rent because he had zero liquid cash left. On Christmas Eve 2008, at the very last hour, a financing round came through for Tesla. Days later, NASA awarded SpaceX a contract. He risked $180 million to get to zero just to have a shot at changing the world. Today, he's the richest man on the planet. So right now, you're probably telling yourself, but Evan, I don't have $180 million like Elon Musk. And that's not the point. It's not about the amount of money. It's about the habit of your mind. You're playing small with the $1,000 the same way you'd play small with $10 million. If you cannot bet on yourself when you have nothing to lose, you will never bet on yourself when you have everything to lose. So today we're going to break down the actual blueprint. I analyzed 50 billionaires to find out what they actually have in common, and it's not what you think.
The trap of diversification. The first thing you need to understand is that billionaires do not get rich by diversifying. You have been told your whole life, don't put all your eggs in one basket. That is great advice if your goal is to preserve wealth. It's terrible advice if your goal is to create wealth and build an empire. Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors of all time, calls diversification protection against ignorance. He says it makes very little sense for anyone who knows what they are doing. If you know how to analyze a business, if you know your market, if you know your value, why would you put your money into your 20th best idea instead
instead of your top idea. When you look at the portfolios of the ultra wealthy, you see extreme concentration. They find one thing they believe in, usually a company they built themselves or an investment they know inside and out, and they push all their chips into the middle of the table. Bill Gates didn't diversify into real estate and gold when he was starting Microsoft. He was 100% Microsoft. Jeff Bezos wasn't buying stocks in other retailers in 1999. He was 100% Amazon. And the data backs this up. There's a study by Acadian Asset Management that looked at concentrated portfolio managers versus diversified ones. They found that the managers who had the courage to bet big on their best ideas, their top 5 to 10 stocks, significantly outperformed the ones who spread their bets thin. The managers who concentrated their portfolios generated higher returns because they were betting on their conviction, not their fear. You are hurting your own growth by trying to do too many things at once. You have a side hustle and a main job, and you're thinking about crypto, and you're trying to start a YouTube channel, and you're learning Spanish. You are diversifying your energy because you are afraid that if you pick just one thing, it might fail. But by doing 5 things at 20% effort, you are guaranteeing that all 5 of them fail. You need to find your wonderful business. Buffett says if you can find just 3 wonderful businesses in your life, you will get very rich. You don't need 50. You need 1. You need to become an expert in one area. You need to know more about your specific niche than anyone else in the room. When you have that level of knowledge, you don't need to diversify to protect yourself. Your knowledge is your protection. So stop trying to be okay at everything and give yourself permission to be a genius at one thing. Put your eggs in one basket and then watch that basket very closely, like Andrew Carnegie used to say. The power of disagreeableness. If you want to be a billionaire, you have to stop caring what other people think. I don't mean you should be a jerk. I mean you must possess a psychological trait known as low agreeableness. Researchers from the socioeconomic panel in Germany analyzed the personality traits of millionaires and billionaires. They used the Big 5 personality model. They found a consistent pattern. Wealthy people score very high on conscientiousness. They are disciplined and they're organized. They score high in openness. They like new ideas, but they score significantly lower than the average person on agreeableness. This means they are not afraid of conflict. They are not afraid to swim against the tide. They do not need social harmony to feel good about themselves. When you are building something massive, people are going to tell you that you are crazy. They are going to tell you that it cannot be done. They are going to tell you that you are wrong. If you have high agreeableness, you will listen to them. You will try to fit in. You will compromise your vision to make everyone feel comfortable. Billionaires don't do that. They are non-conformists. Look at Steve Jobs. He was famous for his reality distortion field. He would demand things that his engineers said were impossible. He wasn't trying to be their friend. He wasn't trying to be agreeable. He was trying to change the world. He didn't care if people thought that he was difficult. He cared about the vision. You have to be willing to be misunderstood. You have to fight for your idea when no one else sees it. You have to be the one who says yes when the whole world says no. This is why so many billionaires are entrepreneurs. You cannot climb the corporate ladder if you are highly disagreeable. The corporate world rewards people who follow the rules and play nice. The entrepreneurial world rewards people who break the rules and create new realities. So you can ask yourself today, where are you compromising your dream just to avoid an awkward conversation? Where are you saying okay when you want to scream no? Stop trying to please everyone. You are not pizza. You are a leader. Lead. The obsession with speed. Speed is the ultimate weapon. If you look at the daily habits of billionaires, they do not waste time. They understand that time is the only asset that they can never buy back. There is a concept called return on time investment, or ROTI. Billionaires are obsessed with this. They aggressively use leverage, other people's money, other people's times, systems, and technology to make sure that their personal time is spent only on the highest value tasks. When I analyze successful people on my channel, I see this pattern over and over. They don't just work hard, they work fast. Tom Bilyeu, friend of the channel, has a strict routine. He gets up, he works out to build discipline, he meditates to clear his mind, and then he attacks his most important tasks immediately. He doesn't check email first, he doesn't scroll social media, he calls it thinkitating, using his brain power to solve complex problems before the world can distract him. Most people are moving too slow. You have an idea for a business, you spend 6 months researching a logo, you want to start a podcast, and you spend 3 weeks looking for the perfect microphone to buy, right? You're using preparation as an excuse to hide. If you wait until you feel ready, you will be waiting for the rest of your life. Billionaires act on information immediately. When Elon Musk faced that crisis in 2008, he didn't take a month off to think about it. He was on the phone, flying around the world, negotiating deals, moving money, literally working 20 hours a day to save his companies. The speed of his decisions saved him. You need to shorten the gap between the idea and the execution. If you have an idea right now, do something about it. In the next 10 minutes, send the email, buy the domain, post a video, call the client, stop overthinking. Your brain is designed to keep you safe, not to make you rich. Safety is slow. Wealth is fast. The billionaire mindset is about shrinking timelines. If you think a goal will take you 10 years, ask yourself, how can I achieve this in 6 months? Even if you fail, you will be further ahead than if you stuck to the 10-year plan. So a lot of you are waiting for permission. You're waiting for someone to tell you that you are good enough. You're waiting for the perfect time. There is no perfect time. The perfect time was yesterday. The second best time is right now. The ability to handle crisis. You will never reach the top without facing a moment that threatens to destroy everything that you have built. This is the existential crisis phase. Every single billionaire that I've studied has gone through a moment where it looked like it was all over. We talk about Elon Musk in 2008, but look at Jeff Bezos. In a dot-com crash of 2001, Amazon lost 90% of its value. 90%. Imagine looking at your net worth and seeing it drop by 90%. Most CEOs panicked. They folded. They went bankrupt. Bezos didn't panic. He focused on the math. He focused on one single metric, the cash conversion cycle. He realized that if he could get cash from customers before he had to pay his suppliers, he could fund his own growth without needing banks or investors. He turned Amazon into a cash-generating machine during the worst crash in the history of the internet. He didn't just survive the crisis, he used the crisis to become stronger. This is what Nassim Taleb calls being anti-fragile. It's not just about resilience, which is bouncing back to where you were. It's about getting better because of the stress. When you are building your business, you are going to get hit. You are going to lose a big client. Your star employee is going to quit on you. The economy is going to tank. Pandemic is going to shut down the world. If you crumble when things get hard, you are not ready for this level of success. Yet, billionaires look at crisis as a puzzle to be solved, not a sign that they need to stop. They maintain an internal locus of control. They believe that no matter how bad the external situation is, they have the power to fix it. They don't blame the economy. They don't blame the government. They don't blame their team. They take extreme ownership. So when bad things happen to you, do you play the victim or do you become the architect of your own rescue? Your pain is your training ground. The struggles that you are facing right now are not there to stop you. They are there to prepare you for the weight of the success you are asking for. If you can't handle the pressure of a $10,000 problem, life will never trust you with a $10 million problem. So embrace the crisis. It is the fire that forges the steel. They solve the biggest problems. Perhaps the most important thing billionaires have in common is the scale of the problems that they solve. So you are paid in direct proportion to the difficulty of the problems that you solve. If you solve a small problem for a few people, you make a little bit of money. If you solve a massive problem for millions of people, you become a billionaire. So look at the billionaires that we've talked about. Elon Musk is trying to solve the problem of fossil fuels with Tesla and the problem of human extinction with SpaceX. Pretty big problems. Bill Gates solved the problem of putting a computer on every desk in every home. Jeff Bezos solved the problem of getting anything that you want delivered to your door in 2 days. These are not small problems. Most entrepreneurs aim too low. They start a business just to make money. They want to just pay their bills. They want a nice car. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it won't make you a billionaire. You have to fall in love with the problem. And to go to the next level, you have to expand your vision. You have to ask, how can I help more people? How can I serve deeper? You need to find your one word. You need to find the core value that drives you, because when things get hard, and they will get hard, money will not be enough motivation to keep you going. You need a mission. If you're just chasing paper, you will burn out. If you're chasing a purpose, you will be unstoppable. So the billionaires I know, the ones I study, they're not sitting around counting their money. They are working harder than you and me. Why? Because they're obsessed with the problem they are solving. They are built to serve. So if you want to join their ranks, stop asking, how can I make $1 billion? And start asking, how can I help 1 billion people? The money is just a byproduct of the value that you create. Focus on the value. Focus on the service. Focus on the impact. You have Michael Jordan level talent at something. You have a genius inside of you that is waiting to be unlocked. But you are keeping it small because you don't believe in yourself enough to tackle the big problems. The world is waiting for you to step up. The world has huge problems that need your specific genius to solve. So don't deprive us of your contribution because you're afraid to fail. Go bigger.
Now let's learn the Steve Jobs guide to getting rich from $0. The absolute worst thing you can do for your future right now is listen to the people who tell you to be realistic.
Everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you.
Being realistic is the most commonly traveled road to mediocrity. Why would you be realistic? What's the point of being realistic?
Don't listen to the naysayers. Everything I ever did, the thing that they heard out of people's mouth was, that's impossible.
Wealth is only created by the crazy ones who ignore the limits and build products that nobody else thinks are possible.
The people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
If you're going to do anything new or innovative, you have to be willing to be misunderstood.
So I think it's important to start now. It's important to do things that you think are crazy.
If you let average people talk you out of your wild ideas today, you will spend the rest of your life full of bitter and painful regret.
Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice.
The biggest poison in us is regret.
I want to have minimized the number of regrets I have. And you know, I knew that when I was 80, I was not going to regret having tried this.
Think about Steve Jobs. In 1976, he had $0 and was working out of his parents' garage. His friend Steve Wozniak built a computer circuit board just for fun. Wozniak wanted to give the plans away for free because that was the realistic thing to do. But Jobs was crazy. He told Wozniak they should start a company and sell the boards. They had no money, so Jobs sold his old Volkswagen van just to buy the first parts. Everyone thought they were nuts to take on giant computer companies from a dirty garage, but because Jobs ignored the realistic advice, he built an empire that completely changed the world. Now, you might be thinking that Steve Jobs was a rare genius and you're just an average person with an empty bank account. But Jobs started out returning glass bottles just to buy food. He was not born a billionaire. He just refused to let a lack of cash shrink his vision. You have the exact same potential inside you right now. To unlock that potential, I'm going to walk you through the ultimate $0 playbook inspired by one of the greatest entrepreneurs in history. Copy the rise, not the result. When you look at massive companies today, you see their shiny corporate headquarters, you see their thousands of employees, their massive advertising budgets. You look at what they are doing right now, and you try to copy it. And that is a massive mistake that will keep you broke forever. You have to copy the rise, not the result. So you must look at what your heroes did when they had $0 and zero team. So when Steve Jobs returned to Apple in 1997, the company was an absolute disaster. They were 90 days away from total bankruptcy. They had dozens of confusing products. They had different versions of the Macintosh, different printers, and a bunch of random software out there. The customer was completely confused. Jobs did not launch 15 new ideas to save the company. He walked into a meeting, drew a simple grid on a whiteboard with 4 squares, and changed everything. He cut 70% of the products and focused on just 4 things. He made 1 desktop and 1 portable computer for consumers, and 1 desktop and 1 portable computer for professionals. You need to do the exact same thing in your own life right now. If you're starting with $0, you cannot afford to have your attention split into 10 different directions. You cannot try to launch 5 different companies at the same time. You cannot try to master 10 different social media platforms all at once. You have to say no to
almost everything so you can say yes to the one thing that actually matters. Multitasking is completely destroying your future. A major study by the American Psychological Association proves that switching between different tasks causes a 40% drop in your productivity. You need to pick one single problem to solve. Pick one product, pick one platform, go all in on that one thing. Build your momentum step by step. It takes a massive amount of energy to get the train moving, but once you have momentum, you become completely unstoppable. Focus is your greatest weapon when your bank account is empty. Build your empire with free technology. Right now, you are living in the greatest time in human history to be an entrepreneur. You do not need a giant bank loan to build your team. You do not need to hire expensive agencies or consultants. You have free access to artificial intelligence that can do the work of 50 people. This year, technology is the ultimate equalizer. Generative artificial intelligence is completely changing the world and is available to you for absolutely nothing. A major report by McKinsey estimates that generative AI will add up to $4.4 trillion to the global economy every single year. What does that actually mean for you today? It means you can use free AI tools to write your code, create your marketing plan, design your logos, and build your entire website today. You can build AI agents that handle all of your customer service while you are sleeping. You have to start using these tools immediately. Steve Jobs always believed that a computer was like a bicycle for the human mind. He believed technology should amplify your natural ability. That is exactly what you must do with AI right now. So stop making excuses about not having money to hire people. Use Gemini, use ChatGPT, use OpenClaw, use NotebookLM, use the free tools that are sitting right in front of you on your laptop. When you leverage technology properly, your $0 budget turns into $1 billion advantage. The winners this year will not be the people with the most money. The winners will be the people who use the free tools to execute their crazy ideas faster than anyone else. Design the ultimate customer experience. So you can't just build a product that works. You have to build an experience that people actually love. Steve Jobs was famous for combining technology with the liberal arts. He believed that engineering and math were simply not enough to win. He said it is technology married with the liberal arts, married with the humanities, that yields the results that makes your heart sing. So think about the early days of Apple. Steve Jobs dropped out of college, but he dropped in on a calligraphy class just because he thought it was beautiful. Years later, he put those beautiful fonts into the first Mac computer. He cared about how things looked and how they made people feel. You have to focus on the design of your business. How does your customer feel when they interact with your brand? You want your brand to be a powerful emotion. When people watch my content, I want them to feel belief. So think about what you want people to feel. Companies that obsess over design and customer experience completely crush their competition. The Design Management Institute ran a massive study over a 10-year period. They found that design-driven companies outperformed the standard stock market index by 219%. You do not need money to care about your customer. You do not need a massive budget to make your product simple, elegant, and beautiful. Focus entirely on creating an amazing experience that your customers will never forget. The power of quality thought over production value. People get completely stuck because they think they need a massive budget to start making content. You think you need a $5,000 camera and a professional studio to be taken seriously, right? And that's a complete lie. All you need is your phone and a really good idea. The quality of your thought will always matter more than the quality of your production. When I look at the most successful videos that I've ever made, they were not always shot in a fancy studio, and it's not because of the quality of the camera that I had. It was me sharing a message that people needed to hear. In fact, people trust you more when you look like a normal human being instead of just a polished, television commercial. A major report by Stackla found that 86% of consumers say authenticity is the most important factor when deciding what brands they like and support. So you have to stop worrying about having the perfect lighting or the perfect microphone. Steve Jobs built the first Apple circuit board in a dirty garage, not $1 billion laboratory. He focused entirely on the quality of the product, not the fancy environment around him. So you have to take that exact same approach to your business today. Use the free camera in your pocket to talk directly to your audience. Give them actual value, and they will never care about the background of your video.
Say no to the good ideas. A lot of people think that getting rich requires having 100 billion ideas. The truth is actually the exact opposite. If you want to build an empire from nothing, you have to learn how to aggressively say no to almost everything. Steve Jobs famously taught that focus is not about saying yes to the thing you have to focus on. He said focus is about saying no to the 100 other good ideas that there are. The biggest threat to your success is not a bad idea. The biggest threat is the good ideas that distract you from your great idea. Good is always the enemy of great. When you have $0, you cannot afford to waste your energy chasing shiny new objects. You have to pick one lane and dominate it completely. A major global study by Startup Genome analyzed thousands of companies and found that losing focus and trying to scale too many things at once is the primary reason that new businesses fail. Because every time you say yes to a new side project, you are stealing time and energy from your main goal. So you have to be incredibly ruthless with your calendar. Say no to the networking events that do not matter. Say no to the extra features that your product does not actually need. Keep your offering as simple and pure as possible. When you strip away all that noise, you are left with a crystal clear vision that your customers can instantly understand and trust. Start a business development show. You do not need 1 million subscribers to make $1 million. That is one of the biggest myths in the entire business world right now. You think you need to go viral to be successful, but going viral usually brings you the wrong kind of audience. If you want to make money with $0, you need to start a business development show. This is something we teach inside our Movement Makers program. The strategy is simple. You create a podcast or video interview series, and you only invite your ideal clients or referral partners to be guests on the show. You're giving them a platform to share their story. Nobody's asking these people for interviews, so they're incredibly flattered, and they often say yes. You'll spend an hour with them building a real relationship and showing them exactly how you think. This strategy works because you are delivering massive value to them before you ever even ask for a single dollar. You turn a cold prospect into a warm friend just by shining a spotlight on them. You do not need a giant audience for this to work. If you do an interview with 50 of your ideal clients and one of them signs a huge contract with you, your business is instantly transformed. Stop chasing random followers and start building deep connections with the people who actually want to buy what it is that you sell. Expect to suck at the beginning. The biggest reason that you're stuck right now is that you are terrified of looking stupid in front of your friends and family. You are a perfectionist, and your perfectionism is actually killing your greatest dreams. So you have to expect to suck at the beginning. When you try something completely new, you're going to be really bad at it at the start, right? That's just how life works. When I started on YouTube, it took me 350 videos before I was not completely embarrassed by my own content. I hated watching myself on camera. My lighting was terrible and my audio was awful, but I kept posting anyway. It took me 700 public videos until I actually inspired myself. Now, most people quit long before they ever reach video 700. Steve Jobs had massive public failures too. You only remember the iPhone and the iPad, but you forget the painful failures that came first. The Apple Lisa computer was a giant disaster that lost the company millions of dollars and failed in the market. He was even fired from the very company that he created. He started another company called Next, which also struggled to sell computers to everyday people. You have to stop hiding behind your lack of money and your fear of judgment. Go make your first piece of content today. Build your first ugly prototype right now. Do the work and expect it to be terrible. The only way you get better is by putting in the repetitions. Your fear of failure is not a good enough reason to stop trying. You got to get out of your head and just take the first step. The first step is always the hardest, but is the only way you will ever build true momentum. Turn your pain into your purpose. So you need a massive reason to wake up every single day and fight for your business. Making money is important, and you absolutely need it to survive, but it can't be your number one goal. If money is your only goal, you will quit the second things get really hard. Your true purpose always comes from your deepest pain. Think about the hardest moments in your entire life. Think about the things that you struggled with the most. Now build a business that helps other people survive and get through the exact same struggle. You are built to serve. You want to wake up every day feeling like your life actually matters to somebody else. To do this effectively, you have to put yourself out there. You have to become the fearless face of your brand.
right? So this year, people do not buy from faceless, boring corporations anymore. They buy from real human beings that they can relate to. A major study by Brand Frog discovered that 82% of people trust a company more when the leader communicates directly on social media. So you have to tell your story. Tell people why you started this journey in the first place. Use your empty bank account as a powerful badge of honor. Show your audience the raw, unfiltered truth of your daily grind. When you share your heart and your struggles, you build deep, meaningful connections that no amount of money could ever buy. So stop waiting for permission and start serving your community. When? Right now. Borrow belief until you have your own. The single biggest problem in the world right now, I think, is that people just do not believe in themselves enough. You have massive, world-changing potential locked inside of you, but your environment is holding you completely back. If you are surrounded by negative people who tell you to be realistic, then you need to cut them out of your life immediately. You must fiercely control what you feed into your mind every single day. Start your morning by listening to people who inspire you to take massive action. I call it the Believe Walk. Wake up, get outside, 15 minutes, put on something that inspires you. You can borrow their belief until you have your own. When I'm struggling, I look at the stories of famous entrepreneurs who started with absolutely nothing. I look at Steve Jobs, returning glass bottles just to buy a meal. I look at the giants who changed history from a dirty garage. If they can do it, you absolutely can too. You have to protect your mindset like your life depends on it. So stop scrolling through negative news that drains your energy and start consuming content that makes you want to get to work. Build a daily routine that fills you with belief and courage. You are just one video, one idea, or one brave decision away from completely changing your entire life. You have everything you need right now. Even if your bank account is absolutely zero, you just have to decide that you are going to win and take the first step today. Your next step to greatness. Never let anyone tell you that your dreams are too big for your current reality. You have greatness inside of you, and it is finally time to let it out. So keep taking massive action, keep pushing forward, and never give up on your vision. If you want to learn if Rich Dad Poor Dad still stands up today, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there. The school system was perfectly designed to keep you broke and obedient. You were taught how to be a good employee and follow the rules, but you were never taught the real rules of money that the rich use to build massive wealth.